And I don't know the majority of the population that is attending, but I do know that in some of my, I was an interdisciplinary science concentrator at Eugene Lang. However, some of my science classes did have Parsons students in them, and I believe that you should definitely, any of those courses actually in interdisciplinary science would be an amazing way for you to start learning about not just environmental issues, but public health issues and public policy issues. And a lot of students are usually intimidated and say like, oh, I'm not a Lang student, like I don't know anything about like how molecules bond or anything like that. But I think that the faculty at the department does a really amazing job at making it very easy to understand, and all of them are just really amazing with tutoring, and just I would highly recommend going that way if that's something that you might be interested in.
Great. So my next question is for Betty. Since you're kind of our human rights representative on this panel, I was kind of wondering, what challenges do you think that students entering the workforce or alumni getting into it that are kind of singular to the health and human rights profession that other people might not necessarily know about?
I had a hard time with that question.
It's a tough one.
Because I'm not that exposed to a number of other professions.
Yeah.
Within health and human rights, the field changes very rapidly. And so one of the challenges is to try and stay abreast of what's going on in the health field, to stay abreast of what's going on in the area of rights. You have to pay attention to news media. You have to be selective in what you listen to and if you're going to watch network, you need to be responsible and find alternative sources of news. Because the news that we get over network, well, I'll leave it at that. Read between the lines. You also need to consider reaching out to organizations that are actually doing the work of social justice, reproductive rights, and reproductive health, because very often they've done lots of groundwork. They have a great repository of studies, articles, research that prepares the ground and gives the evidence for a lot of our health challenges, which are related to lack of access, lack of information. It can be overwhelming because very often, both domestically and internationally, we find that the need is great for health services, and the issues of gender inequities, the issues of marginalized populations and communities create a vast health problem that has an incredible drain on development resources, the funds that are available to cover communities and populations. It can be overwhelming. And so as a student entering, as much as you can expose yourself to the different avenues of health and rights can help you then figure out where you feel most comfortable or most interested, and then focus on that area. Recognizing that some of this will change with the politics, the local U.S. politics and international politics.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and I think that it speaks to what John Patrick was saying earlier, and what everyone here I think has really done, which is follow what they're interested in doing, because certainly all of your jobs, it's all about doing good and feeling good about your job when you come home, but it certainly does have the different things that different people are drawn to. That kind of leads into my next question, which is specifically for Krysta. As Betty works with human rights, you kind of work with animal rights, and I'm certain that there's challenges and differences that might be different to, say, someone who's doing something like what Allan does. And what challenges do you think that are kind of specific to dealing with animal rights that students might not necessarily know about on the surface?
Well, there's a couple of things that come to mind. One is actually competition, and that is that there are a lot of people out there who care, and there are a lot of people who are interested in helping animals. But the fact is that there aren't that many jobs, and so there's a lot of people, and the pay is low. But there's a lot that brings people to this position more than those aspects, and so it's really having to make sure that you are able to present yourself as the best candidate for the job. Also, I think that once you're within the field, working with animals, working with animal rights, I think one of the common things is burnout, and it's caused by, you know, it can happen in any industry where, you know, human rights, where you see suffering every day. You know, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. you're seeing images and you're talking about devastating, horrific suffering, and it can take a toll. Everyone has a sensitive part of their soul, and when you see it, it can be tiring. And so I think sometimes there has to be a point at which you renew yourself and you see the joy and the beauty in what you're doing, and I guess that would be another part of it.